service today, you'll notice there's a few readings that have references to trains as an homage to Doug's love for trains. But there was a reading that I had as I was building out a service that had liturgy and hymns and those memories that you share. I wasn't exactly sure where to put this one, but for some reason I really felt that it was one Doug would enjoy, so here it is. It's called Ode to the Conductor. It's not my job to run the train, the whistle I don't blow. It's not my job to say how far the train's supposed to go. I'm not allowed to pull the brake or even ring the bell. But let this damn thing leave the tracks and see who catches hell. So, we've heard how Doug is a man of few words, and yet I make my living on words, God's and my own. But I'm going to try and keep it brief. I'm going to start just for a minute to just talk about our gospel reading. Our gospel is truly the good news of Jesus Christ. And if I can be brief, I'm just going to sum up that there are three important things for us to take away from this gospel reading. The first is God's wisdom is revealed to the humble, those who walk with gentleness and a childlike openness. 2, Jesus invites us to take on his yoke, which is light and is easy. And 3, Jesus welcomes us to find rest in him. I think that it was the simplicity of Doug's life that he demonstrated what Jesus commands for all of us. I think Doug's wisdom came from within and was shared joyfully and not boastfully. It was shared less with words and more with actions. Doug wasn't a preacher, he was a doer. And Doug invited people, the people he loved, the people he met, the people he called friends. He invited them in to whatever he was doing so that they might have time and space to lighten their yoke. As we grieve Doug's death, let us be reminded that Christ is with us. God understands our suffering, and our faith allows us to feel the pain of this loss. It's at times like this that our memories of Doug and our knowledge that he is resting with Jesus can perhaps lessen the burden of our own yoke. We can be strengthened by God and by one another as we remember Doug today. I'll share with you that I've only met Doug once. I actually met him here at the church. He was here for Mike Tomlinson's funeral. And as he was leaving, he stopped for a moment. He stopped and he turned to me and he told me that I had done a good job. He told me that the service was very nice. And that's pretty much all he said. But I remember it. I remember that he looked directly at me, making eye contact, and that his words, while they were brief, they were honest, genuine, and deliberate. I truly appreciated that moment that we shared. It was impactful for me. And from the stories that I have heard about Doug, I think my story matches up with who Doug was and how Doug lived and how Doug loved others. He was intentional and he was thoughtful, and it was in his simplicity of words and his decisiveness in actions that he's had an impact on all of us. It was wonderful to hear from Danny and from Matt about their dad. The reflections that they gave are so meaningful and in so many ways better than any eulogy I could write and give. So here I am, looking out at all of you, trying to figure out something to say, something that will bring all of this together, to celebrate and honor Doug, to offer comfort and support, to share faith of Jesus, and to offer some hope in the midst of our grief. As I try to put down what words I might say, I reminded myself that, like Doug, I should be a man of few words, because all you don't need to listen to me droning on and on for 30 minutes. So, as I prepared, I typed, and then I deleted, and I typed, and then I deleted, and then I edited, and I started over. And then I realized that I really just had to look at Doug's words for advice. When asked why Doug didn't say more than he did, he just pointed to Pat. He said, "I don't need to do the talking, I got her." So, I got you, Pat. I'm going to share a few things with you that Pat said that she would like shared. And maybe this is Doug's way of reminding us all that Pat gets the last word. Pat wants us to know that Doug was quiet, but that he had a really big heart. And he truly loved his family and his friends. I think this is my favorite Pat. I'm going to start with just asking, if I go with you, could stand up.
I go with you.
I go with you.
Stand up.
Stand up, Lou. And we had, let's see here, what else we got here? Well, look how it's Luke stand up. Of course, there's Logan, the tall guy.
Yep.
He was there. And Avery, you want to share yours? You want me?
Stand up.
Stand up.
What was your name? The Little Miss.
Little Miss. So, Doug had nicknames for each of his grandkids. You can sit down now. I did what your grandfather would want. I embarrassed you. I mean, there was Priscilla and Paige, who were the girls. There's Kelsey, who was our girl. Of course, Avery, Little Miss. Logan, the tall guy. Luke, I Go With You. Noah, Tiny P. I'm gonna know the background for that one. You know, he loved you all so much. And he loved fishing with you and teaching you. And you brought a lot of joy to his life. Doug was proud to have worked for Ford's. He loved new cars. And I'll confess to you that it was Ford's that got me in the habit of loving new cars frequently. Because I had a Buick that I was having electrical trouble with, and I was on the way home picking my son up at boarding school. And it was flickering on and off, and I said, it does this one more time, I'm pulling into a dealership and buying a new car. Sure enough, it flickered on and off. My son says, hey Dad, they got Ford Explorers for $199 a month. And we drove out with a Ford Explorer. And that started me on a cycle of getting a new Ford every 3 years. And to this day, I love new cars. Doug never put anything back where he originally found it. And then he would ask Pat to go find it. And as Pat recalls, there were several conversations and prayers with St. Anthony for assistance in finding said items. Pat says that Doug made her life wonderful and he gave her anything that she wanted. His standard answer was, I don't care, whatever you want. And he was a bug killer. Even that one on his lip, I think so. She asked, he killed it. On. Pat says that she thinks that the most recognizable thing she could say was, Douglas! Because he knew right then and there he was on bug killing. He loved his puppies, most recently Tucker and TJ. And in fact, he loved all animals. And it seems he used to get into trouble for feeding the squirrels. What I wonder is, did he talk to them too?
They probably have names.
We called him Woodsy Owl because of his dedication to recycling everything. Now, again, recycling, did we mean recycling or do we mean he put it in the garage and Pat had to figure out what to do with it?
It'll be with a recycling.
Pat says that it had been a long haul since she first met Doug at the drag strip, and she told Lorraine that she was going to marry that man. He will be unbelievably missed. She says, rest easy, Pelkey. I love you, Patty. So, I'm going to end this all just by telling you very briefly that when you leave here today, and in the coming weeks and months, take some time, pick up some trash and recycle it, find something to put in your garage for no apparent reason. Kill a bug. misplace something and then pray to St. Anthony. And last but not least, go feed a squirrel.